Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Spooky, welcome. We're kind of just gonna jump into everything because y'all, when I thought that it was gonna take a little bit longer to get some updates on what's going on, or that, she might miss all the filings, it is what it is. So you're getting kind of chaos spooky today because I was already planning a video for the 20th. 420 is my birthday. I wanted to do a really fun video covering some random stuff that I thought was interesting. And instead, I logged on to Pacer to see what was going on, and holy guacamole, was there a lot of bullshit going on in the TikToker case. So I'm gonna give you a little quick road so far, and then I'm gonna jump in to everything that has been filed since we kind of last talked. So, for those who do not know what this case is all about, a TikTok psychic decided that about 10 days after the actual murder of the Idaho Four, that she would proceed to accuse a history professor from the University of Idaho of these murders, and also accuse this professor of a relationship with a student. To say that it got blown out of proportion and she should have stopped when it started is an understatement, because holy guacamole, did she not stop. She got her final cease and desist in December, and she continued to make videos up until that point, and I think a little bit after. But in court, it was shown to be 115 videos between the time that she started using the professor's full name all the way up until about December 8th, December 9th, maybe a little bit more, but using her full name, using it in the hashtags, or actually just talking about it and fully doxing her with phone number, where she worked, and so on. That happened in 2022, mind you. I think the full document was submitted for a defamation case in December of 2022. Now, she did not file, and the case was granted, like the case of defamation was granted, and then she filed and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry, can you please reverse that so I can actually fight it? And the judge was nice enough to reverse it and move on. We finally went to trial in February of 2026, so a few months back, right? If you want a full breakdown of all the stuff, I will leave a link above me, around me somewhere. You can go and watch that one. It's like almost 2 hours long, but I covered as much as I could up until when the court was done and everything in between, right? So fast forward all the way to February. We're going to court on damages. Now, let me just say this again for those in the back who don't understand. Damages. We are not going to court to prove that the professor was defamed. That was already, mind you, decided back in 2024. In June of 2024, we went to court for damages, or she did, mine, but went to court for damages, right? The jury found in favor of professor and awarded her $10 million. 2.5 of that is in compensatory, which means, hey, we see everything that you've done with doctors, medical, lost opportunities, and so on. We are handing you over 2.5 in compensatory for all of those issues, right? Now, the professor was only asking for $1 million. So 2.5 million, very nice, very kind. The punitive damages, which is the punishment damages, i.e., I am punishing you for doing this. You should not do this. You have been very, very wrong in what you've done, and please stop. You need to stop, because we are handing this judgment towards you because you did not stop when asked. That was 7.5 million. The jury was pretty pissed, for lack of a better term. And just watching their faces in court, it's amazing. It's amazing they didn't award more, but at the same time, very smart, because, and no matter what this TikToker says, all right, not once did the lawyers state that they wanted to punish all psychics. What they wanted to do was show that you cannot go online and say things willy-nilly, when there are facts to back up what you're saying is false. I know many psychics. I know many people who read tarot. Fuck, I read tarot. But I don't go onto Al Gore's fucking internet and read my cards and accuse someone of fucking murder. I'm sorry. That's wild to me. And to not only double and triple down, but quadruple down Like, there needs to be a whole nother word for this, because we're now at the point, I think when I looked, we are now at the point, I think it's 100, and I gotta double check because now I'm curious and I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's almost like 160 filings now at this point. I'm pretty sure it's 160. Sorry, 157 filings. 157 filings. So, what we're gonna do quickly is go over her memorandum in support of appeal. We're going to talk about her appeal and what that means. And then I'm going to show you what recently has been filed. Now, it was filed back on, I think, April 8th or 9th, but it's now just hit the docket for us to have access to. So I'm going to pull that up. We're going to talk about that really quick. To preface this all, and I probably should have said this at the very beginning, this is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a lawyer. I did not go to law school. Would I love to go to law school? Maybe, eventually. It'd be very interesting. But I am not a lawyer. I do not know lawyer jargon. I just research a lot of shit, and I go down way too many fucking rabbit holes. It is what it is. If I misconstrued something, or if I say something wrong, please excuse me. 9 times out of 10, I'm just a woman with a fucking mic and a camera in front of her face, and I want to talk about crazy ass shit that happens out in the world. But we're going to talk about this, so excuse me if I butcher words or if I don't fully know and I kind of explain something wonky, please excuse. Alright? Alright, we're diving into this because holy fucking guacamole. Alright, if you're wondering what all these black boxes are, they are to remove TikToker's name, and they are to remove the first name of the professor. Now, mind you, you can go look this up yourself. Obviously, there's court documents and everything, but I'm not giving her more whatever she wants. I am trying to remove it as much as possible. That's why I use TikTok Psychic. That's why I don't use her name. It's just not worth it. At the end of the day, I have recently seen that she's done like a 30 some odd part series on her new TikTok, which wild. It is what it is. If I can find the videos and watch them without giving her views, I will try just to see what she's saying. But the brain, I can't. I can't. And the fact that they might be going back to court is just fucking insane. All right. So this is a memorandum in support that provides that they committed acts of fraud. That is her whole thing. She is asking for motions of relief of judgment due to fraud. Literally, she believes that this entire thing was fraud. As she goes through, she talks about what happened. So the November 13th, the 4 murders of the Idaho students, which I'm going to take a second before I go down a tangent because this in itself is so sad. The fact that this murder, this heinous fucking murder, was used to lead to this is insane. I follow some of the families' Facebook pages just to keep an eye on what's going on with them. It's been almost 4 years now since they've passed. It's been, brutally murdered, and it's just a sad, sad fucking case. And the fact that this TikToker, right, she said that a community member asked her to conduct tarot readings on the murders to get information on who killed the students and why. By November 23rd, which is 10 days after the murder, she began conducting tarot and oracle readings on who, what, where, when, and why the murders occurred. She discovered through the readings that one of the students had a relationship with plaintiff or professor, and the message of the readings also revealed that professor ordered the murder of the 4 students. She did not. I think we can all agree at this fucking point. She did not. So many people have come forward and stated, like, no, the police investigated her, this happened. And in court, because, I was there, so was a Tozy. You can go ask him too. Never once did this TikToker contact the defense attorneys and say, hey, because of my tarot readings and my spiritual guides, I know who actually did this. It's this professor. Please look into her. Never once did she ask for anything after Kohberger was convicted and pled guilty. Mind you, he pled guilty. He was not even convicted by a jury. He openly pled guilty to this. She never once went to them and asked them for any evidence to show that he possibly did not do it. And also, there was a question asked in that too of why the defense attorneys wouldn't just ask her, like, hey, I see that your TikToks are gaining attraction, and we see that you think that someone else did it. Well, can you give us their name so we can investigate them? or even reach out to hand over any of this information. She did not do that. It was only shown way after, I think after he pled. I'll have to double check my notes, but I think it's after he pled in 2025 that she even offered up any information or emails. I know with the FBI, I think she did it in either 23 or 24 after Kohberger was arrested. So that just kind of shows you where all this is going, right? So this is all false. This has been deemed all false. The TikToker received 2 demand letters to cease and desist content regarding the professor and to retract her statements on December 12th. Now, TikToker responded on social media that she did not have to cease and desist her content because she is telling the truth and protected by the substantial truth doctrine of the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. You are not protected underneath defamation. You can be sued for that. Whether you like it or not, you can be sued for defamation. It is what it is. So on December 21st, Professor then filed a complaint with 2 claims: assault, libel, and slander in federal district court for the District of Idaho under diversity jurisdiction. On February 17th of 23, she then filed a motion for a default judgment, and the motion for a default judgment sought at least $1.8 million, alleging that the TikToker's false statements caused Schofield's promotion, leadership capabilities, salary increases at the U of I to be jeopardized, and Professor also alleged that TikToker jeopardized her publication of book, jeopardized Schofield's ability to collaborate with co-authors, limited Professor's ability to perform new studies and new work regarding LGBTQ populations, and 4, caused Professor severe mental distress due to receiving hate mail from anti-education groups who oppose her work on that community at the University of Idaho. Here's the thing. I don't know. Right? We don't know. We're not in the professor's life. We do not know. But at the end of the day, I can totally believe that all of this happened. Idaho is a very red state, right? There is no getting around that, whether you think it is or not. Just even recently, Governor Little signed a bill banning, I believe it's the federal buildings from flying the pride flag. It's just is what it is. We are a very red state. Do I know if all of this happened? I don't. Can I believe it happened? Of course. I live in Idaho. The federal building is like maybe a 45-minute drive, if that, from where I'm at. I can totally believe this happened. Not the point. All right. So you kind of get the gist of what happened, right? So then she proceeds to talk about the legal standard, about what fraud is and how it's providing false information regarding injuries, damages, or financial losses can lead to severe criminal and civil penalties. In Idaho, a party damaged by perjury in a civil case can sue for damages such as fraud. She is pretty much stating that it's all fraud. Like everything that happened during this court case from February 24th until February 27th is all fraud. Which, mind you, because we're going to go up to the top right here really quick, where it says, despite not having any evidence to support it, the jury rendered a verdict of $2.5 million in compensatory damages and $7.5 million in punitive. They had a lot of evidence. I saw it all. Everybody did. And when you sit there and you hear some of the crazy stuff that is said, and it's just wild, right? All the wild things that are just said, you have to sit there and stare at someone and be like, okay, you knew what you were saying. You full force said that's fine and kept going even after someone said, hey, what you're saying is false. I can prove to you it's false. Please stop. And you continued to do it and you documented it. There's a lot of evidence out there when you document it. Like, it's always wild to me when I see YouTubers or TikTokers or anything of that nature get in trouble and they're like, well, it's all false, it's all false. And then there's video of them doing whatever they said was false. We live in an age where everything is being videotaped, so maybe have a little bit of understanding, or not even understanding, but a little bit of thought behind what you do before you move forward and realize that what you're filming might be considered defamation, illegal, a crime, something of that nature. Even with deepfakes recently, like oh yeah. But she believes that all of this is fraud. and that the jury had no evidence to prove that anything was worth the damages. So her argument is that Professor's complaint is founded upon the foundational lie that she was damaged by TikToker. Beginning with document 1, Professor falsely claimed to have damages exceeding $75,000. This is just to put it in federal court. I don't know if she did or not. I'm not her. From going to my own therapy and my own medication and a bunch of other stuff, it might have racked up. It probably did. It is what it is. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and, try to say that everything she said is correct or incorrect. The one thing we know is that the TikToker did defame the professor. The police came out and said she was not tied to anything in that case. The actual murderer has been convicted. He has pled guilty. He is now sitting in jail, quite uncomfortably, thank God. And that family is moving forward with other wrongful death lawsuits in other ways, right? So if you truly believed all of this was true, like in your full soul believe that this was true, why did you not go to the FBI before 2023? Why did you not contact, once you found out the person was arrested, why did you not contact the defense attorneys and say, hey, listen, I have this. Yes, it's just tarot readings and, and feelings and whatever, but I feel like if you dig into them, you could find out. Why didn't you do any of that? Why did you just keep posting on YouTube, TikTok, whatever, and not actually go for the justice system and try to help? If you truly believe she is guilty of all these crimes, why did you not do anything about it? That's my main thing. It's a big why. If you truly believe all of this is true, why did you not do any of it? She says by docket 103, Professor continued to lie about professional damages, filing documents of her attempt to continue to lie about having 10 years professional financial damages through the expert testimony of Dr. Talent. Dr. Talent was actually a very interesting witness to have. I believe that she was very credible for what she does and can do. I mean, her credentials alone are fucking massive, and she's been doing it longer than I've been fucking alive, and I think since the TikToker's been alive, but I believe she was a very credible witness. Now, did I feel like there was some things she said that could have been taken either way? Yeah. Her testimony was only to show that professional damage can last for long periods, and when you go to court and win in a judgment or show that you're fighting it and show that your evidence is coming out because it's not true, there is a massive difference than just saying like, oh, she's not damaged because, I said so. Like, we see it now with YouTubers where when some get canceled, it kind of follows them for a while, but then it will fall off. But there are people who still will bring up certain ones. The first one that comes to mind is James Charles. Like, the allegations of, him trying to find underage people or preying on straight men. Like, we don't know because he has not gone to court, but he also hasn't filed charges against anybody that I know of for defamation, because there might be some truth to that. Like, there was a few that came out that I kind of remember, and I just remember him not filing anything against them. I could be very wrong. It's stuff like that where if the allegations were true, why go forward with a lawsuit and why go forward with all this time and energy? Mind you, this ended after 4 years and now it's still going. Why go through all that trouble, if it's true? She says also, additionally, the jury was also influenced by Professor's fundamental false claims of damages as reflected by the $2.5 million verdict. And she says that do not exist. And then without Professor's false evidence, false documents, blatant lies in court filings, perjurious testimony, and the perjurious testimony of her witnesses, Professor does not have a valid case for damages nor defamation against TikToker. Oh, if you thought evidence was false, why did you not object on legal grounds? I know you're pro se. I totally get it. But I just want to know why you didn't object to them during the trial. That's how you get false evidence thrown out. Because it was accepted in because you did not object, then it is now considered evidence. So the jury can sit there and look at it and say, yeah, this is what it is, or this isn't what it is. I think what I'm going to do, I really wanted to anyway, and I think what I'm going to do, especially now, is I'm going to go and I'm going to try to pull the transcripts from court and I think I'm gonna go through them as much as possible. It's gonna be probably expensive, which is gonna suck so bad. But I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab them. I still have another month. I don't think they're gonna open up until May, but yeah, I think I'm gonna at least grab the closing statements and the closing arguments because that's where a lot of the misconstrued of like, oh, well, they said prosecute all psychics. She did not. I wrote down every little possible thing that I could write down, and not once did she ever say prosecute psychics. She literally said that you shouldn't have the ability to just say whatever you want and not get in trouble for it, especially when you accuse someone of murder, because it's true. Like, yeah, I'm gonna grab the transcripts. If I don't grab all of them, then I'm gonna at least grab the closing arguments and the opening arguments because I think that in itself is very big. And then I might grab the professor's testimony, and then I might grab the TikToker's testimony as well. I think those two in itself are very important. Everything else, it can be important, but I'll be very honest. I think the last time I tried to grab transcripts from a case, I think they quoted me about $4,000 for everything, and I don't have $4,000. So unfortunately, I won't be able to buy all of the transcripts. I would love to. I would love to be able to buy all the transcripts and have them and like be able to show them and talk about everything. But it was a 4-day trial. I don't think it would be that much, especially because they were very like on the nose with time, which was about 6 hours a day. But you never know, and I'd rather not pay 4 grand for some transcripts. I would love to, but that's a lot of money. Anyway, the professor lied under oath and presented false evidence for professional damages. Her dean did testify that he believed her and tried to, cushion her, prevent her. That doesn't mean she didn't lose damages outside of the school. Professor fraudulently filed medical records and bills to misrepresent damages. She filed bills. She testified under oath that the professor received nerve damage in her legs due to the TikToker's video. She also filed those medical records as evidence and presented them to the jury. She did. And if you objected to them, obviously your objection wasn't strong enough, and the judge deemed that it was worth having. See the exhibits, except there is no medical evidence or support that she can get nerve damage from a TikTok video. Everybody reacts to trauma and reacts to stress in different ways. And from what I know, and mind you, this is just a fellow military person who has seen a lot of stuff, unfortunately, people react to it in different ways. And I have seen people from, like me, who gets PTSD from stuff underneath a lot of stress, all the way to seizures from stress. I had a buddy of mine who literally got seizures after a very high stress deployment, and that deployment in itself wasn't even the worst of them that we've had. One shoe does not fit all, I guess is the right phrasing. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, diabetic nerve damage or diabetic neuropathy is a common complication caused by chronic high blood pressure when you're in a high-stress environment. Professor's mother testified. Oh, I forgot to block out her name. Oh, wait, you can't even see it. Good. I was like, dang it. Once I get off this page, I'll pull it back up. I don't like showing people's names if I don't have to. It's just not my forte. The professor's mother testified as a witness on behalf of the professor. The mother testified that the professor had been diagnosed with diabetes, a fact that the professor omitted from her testimony. No, she did not. It's far more likely that the professor's doctor connected her to alleged nerve damage to her diagnosis of diabetes rather than TikToker's video. Said that she lied under oath, and then that the professor also fraudulently filed her medical records and bills as evidence for damage. Other expert witness, which was her therapist. Now, I think I went over this in my other video, and this poor woman sat on that stand for so long, and they just went, literally word by word, it felt like, in that stupid DSM-5. It says here, to justify professor's PTSD diagnosis, Bond, which is the witness, made several false claims under oath. First one, she claimed that... Oh my god. So, I have not read this. I saw the filing and I immediately texted a Tozy and sent it to him. And then yesterday, I looked at the filings again and I saw that the appellate court had responded. So then I messaged Hosey again and I sent him all the stuff because I was just like, why? Why is this happening? Uh, so I have not read it. I probably should have watched Emily D. Baker's coverage of it, so I knew what was coming, but I'm kind of glad I didn't now. Oh. So she states that the TikToker states that the witness claimed that the TikToker killed the professor. That is not at all what she oh my gosh. Okay. That's not what she said, right? The witness pretended not to know the difference between in-person contact and electronic media. That is not at all, again, what she was alluding to. Bond, the witness, changed which criteria the professor met to justify her diagnosis. And then finally, Bond admitted that professor cannot get PTSD from a TikTok video. That is not what she said. And it is so frustrating because what she was saying was that the DSM-5 has this criteria built into it of like witnessing or exposure or anything of that nature. She was constantly exposed to this, right? She was constantly exposed to this harassment online, and it affected her work. So it became part of her work because she could not escape from it. Now, many people will sit there and probably say, well, she's a teacher and she's this and she's that. Yes, exactly. But when you go to your university and you have students talking about you and professors talking about you and this and that and everything in between, it ends up becoming part of your work, whether you like it or not. I always say that when you get older, you never leave high school. It just changes forms and people become more nasty. And it's true. You never fully leave high school. It just changes what form it comes in. And this is exactly what it is. When you work at a university, you're working with people from 16, 17, all the way up to who knows how old. And saying that it's not part of your job anymore of being in social media and dealing with social media, especially as she's an author and she works with LGBTQ communities and everything of that nature, it is affected, whether you think it is or not. So no, she did not say that she wasn't affected by the videos. What she said is that the DSM-5 is a guideline that she has to follow to diagnose somebody with PTSD. As someone who has been diagnosed through the VA with PTSD, they have told me multiple times that the DSM-5 is a guideline. They look at everything, they talk to you about what's been affecting you, how it affects you, and how it affects your work. And then they move forward with that. It's not a cut and dry black and white document. It is here's what you need. She's been doing this for like 30 some odd years too. So I feel like she would know what she's doing. Not the point, I'm going on a tangent. But she says that professors self-reported and self-claimed PTSD diagnosis in an attempt to fabricate damages and falsely claim damages from TikToker. It is not a self-reported and self-claim. She seeked out a therapist. She sat with a therapist for multiple sessions, and then the therapist diagnosed her. That's like going to a VA visit and sitting in front of someone and talking to them about everything that has happened to you, everything mental-wise that has happened to you, and then letting them decide what to give you and what to diagnose you. It is the same exact thing. Just because they aren't through the VA does not mean that they aren't credentialed. The closing arguments. Oh, I really need to get these closing arguments. During her closing argument, Attorney Olson asked the jury to punish TikToker on behalf of all psychics for our spiritual beliefs because we can say anything if we believe it. No, she did not say that. The jury followed her request by punishing TikToker with the damages, which she states without any evidence, and then made an intentional false statement with malice intent. In fact, TikToker provided evidence that she did not make any statements about Professor with ill intent or knowledge of its falsity. It is more likely that the jury sought to punish TikToker based on her spiritual beliefs as requested by attorney. No, just no. Conclusion. This case appears to be a 2026 rendition of the Salem witch trials in 1962. TikToker was targeted and punished for her spiritual beliefs, and false evidence, perjurious witnesses, and fabricated damages were used to render a verdict of $10 million against her. Practices were even referred to as witchcraft. I don't even know what to say to you about that, because at the end of the day, it might have said in jury, in jury selection, I don't know. We will probably never get those transcripts from that day because it's sealed 9 times out of 10. But I don't know if that is what was ever stated. Because when I was there, I never heard witchcraft come out of anybody's mouth. And even then, I don't even think in the context of like, oh, she's calling me, a witch or anything. It was probably that. It was like, oh, she's calling me a witch or something. Again, have to look at my notes. But I never once heard witchcraft come out of anybody's mouth in general, of like anything derogatory or negative. To say that and say like, oh, like you constantly called me, all this stuff, witchcraft and witch and blah, blah, blah. I really want to see, because you can get access to the transcripts before I can. I would love you to put up the proof. Show me where they said witchcraft or witch, because I would love to see that personally. Or if not, then I can pull them eventually when I have the money. So this document is defendant's response to plaintiff's motion for attorney fees. She's asking to deny them. Pretty much that it is a fundamental lie, that she was damaged, that TikToker did not cause any damages, that it shouldn't have been in federal court because of the price, that Professor lied. She attempted to use the witness of Dr. Talent. She didn't lose anything. It's pretty much the same thing all over again, just restating everything. And then she goes on to talk about Juror 13. It's most likely that jury sought to punish TikToker based on her spiritual beliefs. Not to mention, Juror 13 admitted that she is a biased Catholic and sees TikToker as a practitioner of witchcraft. This is a direct violation of the jury instructions and of TikToker's due process. The verdict is completely unreasonable, does not align with facts of the case, and is now a matter on appeal. It is also in itself evidence of jury bias. Therefore, the court is permitted to deny the plaintiff an award of costs and attorney fees. It probably came out in jury selection, but the juror would not have been selected if the court did not deem them to be unbiased. If you truly felt that they were biased, you should have used, I forget what it's called, but it's a way for you to pretty much be like, I still think that they're biased, I want to throw them out. And it's during jury selection where it's like, I believe this is tainted because of X, Y, and Z. Forget what it's actually called. I'll have to look it up eventually. But it's a way to throw out a juror even if the judge says no, is for lack of a better term. An award of attorney's fees would be a miscarriage of justice. Again, pretty much stating the same thing, that she thinks everything is a lie. Unreasonable or excessive requests for fees and costs. She believes that everything for fees and costs is unreasonable. When I looked at the fees and costs, they actually seemed lower than I thought they would be. I personally thought they would be higher. So, and I think some of the actual witnesses didn't ask to be paid either. I don't really know where she thinks the unreasonable or excessive requests are, but from what I saw, it was just a lot of heavy lifting from the paralegals, and that was about it. But I think in their motion, it was like they normally do like time and a half, and I think they cut that or something, or gave her a discount. I don't remember. I have to go and look again. But yeah, in conclusion, the court should exercise its discretion in this case to deny the plaintiff an award. First, Professor, her attorneys, and witnesses cited and acted in bad faith. We don't know that. This is all argumentative. Verdict of evidence of jury bias does not align with the facts of the case and will likely be overturned on appeal. Argumentative. And then third, based on totality of the circumstances, an award of attorney fees and costs is not in the best interest of justice. Again, argumentative. We don't know, right? We don't know. Really quickly, before we are fully done with this, and I thought this was going to be a quick video. Oh my goodness. I wanted to show you now the Court of Appeal. So this is up to the Court of Appeals of the Ninth Circuit. This will be held in Idaho most likely. This is just where it goes to first. So they got a new docket number, obviously the case style. Everything that's blacked out except for this one is all for her. So her first appeal transcript order is due by my birthday, 4/20. And then a month later, the appeal transcript is due. And then a month later, an appeal opening brief is due, and then the appeal answering brief is due at the end of July by the professor. And then it says if there were reported hearings, the party shall designate, and if necessary, cross-designate the transcripts pursuant to the Ninth Circuit Court. And if there was no reported hearings, the transcript deadlines do not apply. There were transcripts. If they want a mediation, it's obviously available. And then I think I pulled up one more. Oh, nope, I didn't. Okay. When I say that, the way that I literally was shaking my head and just wondering why, that's not even an understatement. It's been wild to see this unfold, and to even go to the court in itself was wild, to go to the court case and sit there and watch and see all the craziness that happened. And it is craziness because court in itself is crazy, but the craziness of it, of just seeing everything unfold and not knowing what will happen the next day. It's a very wild process to be a part of. Like we watch murder trials, and we watch all these things, and it's so wild to watch them because it's crazy. And sometimes reality is crazier than fiction. But yeah, I don't even know. I'm interested to see what will happen. I have not seen any responses. I'm going to refresh really quick to see. I have not seen any responses, so I'm very interested to see what's up next. I don't think anything will probably happen super right away, mainly because I just don't know. Like, yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, it was filed on the 9th. Her first one is due next week, next Monday. I truly just don't think anything's gonna majorly pop off because the appellate court now has it in their ballpark. Will it still stay here? Probably. For lack of a better term, most likely. Let me double check. I believe the appellate court is actually in our normal courthouse. I think it is. Oh, yeah. It's right next to our... Okay. Yeah. I know exactly where this is. It's right next to our normal courthouse. So it's in a whole separate building, but it is right next to our courthouse. I've been there a few times. Very lovely. But I'm very interested to see if this will actually stay here in Idaho or if she'll fight it, which it has to stay here because everything she's alleging all happened here. You never know, though. Crazier shit has happened. But yeah, I don't even know what else to say about this. As you can tell, I'm a little heated by it because you can't sit there and tell me all the evidence you let in, all the documents you let in, everything that you let in. I mean, at the end of the day, the TikToker let it in. She could have objected harder. She could have hired a lawyer and had a lawyer do this for her. Everybody says they don't understand why she didn't hire a lawyer. I don't know either. Maybe it was to cut costs of everything. Maybe she thought it wasn't actually going to court. I don't know. But lawyers will find things that you can't find as a normal layperson. You know, but neither here nor there. I don't even know what to think anymore. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I truly thought that the next time that I would update this would be months down the road. I knew she would probably fight it, but I truly was like, oh, she might miss a deadline. You know, we'll see what happens. I really don't know. So let me know what you think down below. Do you think the appellate court will overturn this? Do you think the appellate court will say no, they are in factual standing and send it back? Just what do you think in general, I guess is the right question. I will leave links to those who I have watched cover some of these court documents for my better understanding too down below. Please check all of them out. They are lovely humans. I deeply thank them for it. Thank you as well to my members. They're fucking awesome and they get shit fucking early. So if you want all of that, please join. I've just recently been monetized. So fuck yeah. Thank you guys so much for all the love that you've been showing on my videos. I do deeply fucking appreciate it. So thanks so much. I love you all. Forehead kisses for you all, especially you in the back. You get a forehead kiss too. And yeah. My brain is still buffering. I will see you. I wasn't even gonna post. Oh my gosh, I wasn't even gonna post, but I'll see you on 420 for a video. I don't know if it's gonna be a haha hee hee video or if it's just gonna be a sad video, but we'll find out together, I guess, because I was starting to plan a video to record today to do it, and then I saw all this pop off, so I wanted to talk about it. And I asked you as well in my community tab. So if you're ever interested in what's going on, check that out. But love y'all so very much. Please stay safe and stay spooky, my friends.